Hi everybody, I hope you're having a great day. In this video, I'm going to be covering the Eternal Warrior. He made his very first appearance in the Black issue of Solar Man of the Atom, issue number 10, that was released in June of 1992. His real name is Gilad Anni-Padda, also going by several aliases, including the Fist and Steel of the Earth and the Eternal Emperor. And he's a legendary ancient warrior from ancient Mesopotamia that stands about 5 feet 11 inches tall and weighs around 230 pounds, also having blue eyes and brown hair. Now, at one point long ago, Gilad was imbued with superhuman abilities by a mysterious device known as the Boon. This permanently altered his mind and body, most notably giving him true immortality. Even if his body is completely destroyed, he'll just be regenerated in perfect condition. This also affords Gilad eternal youth, permanently being at peak conditioning. And although he does have notable moderate superhuman durability, if you manage to injure him, he does have a moderate healing factor as well. Additionally, he's noted as being completely immune to all elements and elemental forces, which seems to be a mechanism that functions to prevent immediate death after he's revived. For example, he can't die in a pool of lava and then be reconstituted within that pool of lava over and over again. So in other words, the Eternal Warrior is one tough cookie. And this isn't even considering that his now enhanced mind has perfect unlimited storage and memory, but is also now made to be emotionally apathetic for a reason. His thought processes now can't be dominated by emotion, as well as him being immune to depression and other forms of mental illness. Which means he comes off to some people as being harsh and cold-blooded. So thankfully, he's a good guy. To go on, he also has low-level superhuman strength, being capable of feats that are slightly beyond what peak human conditioning can offer, as well as having low-level agility with vast endurance and stamina, since his body now produces absolutely no fatigue toxins. To top all of this off, his thousands of years of war experience have made him a master tactician and likely the best hand-to-hand combatant in the world, with him preferring to use melee weapons with the occasional firearm, even during the modern day and into the future. Now, around 6,000 years ago, in the ancient Mesopotamian city named Gilad would live with his two older brothers, Ivar and Aram, as well as a younger sister named Vexana. Gilad would grow to become a fierce warrior, spending lots of time in the wilderness with wild beasts in order to learn their ways of hunting and killing. But one day the three brothers would journey into a strange realm known as the Faraway. And this is when they would meet the Keepers of the Timeless Word, which was a cabal that safeguarded the machine known as the Boon. This mysterious machine is what actually sustained the life in the Faraway, maintaining it as an ethereal place that experienced no death. The brothers would end up taking the machine, but Gilad would be fatally wounded during this excursion. However, his two brothers would manage to return to Earth, and his sister Vexana would be stricken with grief, actually leaving Gilad's deathbed and fleeing the city. But after Ivar and Aram believed that activating the Boon could return Gilad to life, they would do so, but the Boon would inadvertently drain all the life force from the citizens who lived in and would also decimate the region with a massive explosion, leaving everything in ruins. However, Gilad would be resurrected, with he and his two brothers now becoming immortals with enhanced bodies and minds. Ivar would become known as the Timewalker, and Aram would take on the name of Armstrong, and eventually the three brothers would part ways. Now, we also see that the younger sister, Vexana, was also killed by the blast, but she was resurrected by some dark spirits that granted her immortality as well as the ability to warp emotions. And when she saw that her home was destroyed, she worried that her survival meant that she might have been the one responsible for the Great Cataclysm. The young woman then leaving the region after her grief actually blocked out most of her memory and warped her mind. From that point forward, she became known as the War-Monger, an agent of chaos who sparked conflicts around the world. It's worth noting that over the years, she would even come into conflict with her brothers, but they didn't recognize each other. Nevertheless, Gilad would go on to become arguably the greatest warrior on the planet, now being known as the Eternal Warrior. He would regularly work for the Earth's Geomancers, who would tell him of threats that must be stopped. Centuries would go by, and he'd fight evil in many different conflicts, at times allying with individuals such as Eric of Dacia, who would become known as X-O Manowar. Over these first few centuries, the Eternal Warrior would also be introduced to the Null, which was a cult that worshipped entropy and nothingness. This foe was also known to employ an ancient artificial intelligence algorithm that would infect the mind of a person and destroy their personality to use their body as a host. The Eternal Warrior would repeatedly face this foe, who he referred to as the last enemy. But as time went on, even into World War I, when Gilad would be working for MI6, he would start questioning whether his actions really made a difference in the world. And he would also decide to start choosing his battles on his own terms, not at the behest of the Geomancers. Eternal Warrior would go on to become a part of the Superhuman task force known as Unity, fighting many years alongside his old friend X-O Manowar, as well as Ninjak, Livewire, and others. And due to his true immortal nature, we'd even see the Eternal Warrior in the far future of the post-apocalyptic 41st century. At this point, he'd be known to some as the Eternal Emperor. It was around this time that we'd see him fight alongside the futuristic samurai named Rai, who had recruited this ancient warrior to help him in his efforts to free the current Geomancer from New Japan. Now, for his powers and abilities, and his influence on the Valiant Universe, for my 1 to 10 rating, I'll give the Eternal Warrior a rating of 10, which is a legendary rating. I hope everyone enjoyed this video. I'll talk to you next time. Be sure to like, subscribe, and join the new Sage.